Good morning. We would like to welcome Justin Thomas to the Media Center here at the 2024 Tour Championship. Justin, if you could just give us some opening comments on your season and making it to Eastlake for the 8th time.
Yeah, it's always a good year when you're ending the year here in Atlanta. It was very motivating last year not being here and watching on TV. I mean, this is a place that obviously I've had some success, but I also just really enjoy. I think it's a great course. It's just and it's getting harder and harder, I think, to make it to Eastlake and to be a part of the Tour Championship. And I think I'll be the first to admit, I think I kind of took it for granted there for a while, thinking you're going to be here every year. But that's you got to play really well, really solid golf. So it is an accomplishment. Although I'm number 30, I'm still happy to be here and excited to go.
I heard you played 9 yesterday. What are your thoughts on the restoration?
Yeah, I just played the back 9 yesterday. To be perfectly honest, I did not realize how much was changed. I think I just read an article or two, and the article was kind of only highlighted maybe a couple holes and only saw some pictures, and I thought it was just those holes that were changed, not every single one of them. So I was a little surprised by that, but I'm blown away at the condition of the course. I mean, for a change that recent ago to be in the condition that this course is in is astonishing. I mean, I'm sure, as everybody said, the greens are incredibly firm, so that'll be a challenge. But I think it'll take a couple years to honestly know exactly what I think about it. I mean, I loved it, and I didn't think really anything needed to be done beforehand. But like I think everybody, we need to be fair and give it a couple years before we really know how it is.
We'll open it up to questions. We'll start with Rex right here at the front.
Victor was in here yesterday saying that he didn't feel like he had a great season, but then the perspective part of it is if you get to Eastlake, you seem to have touched on it. Is there some sort of middle ground where maybe you look back and you didn't like parts of the season, but getting here is an accomplishment in and of itself?
Oh, for sure. There's plenty of parts of the season I didn't love or didn't like, but it is. I think it's like I said, I really just took it for granted, I'd say. I think it was always a goal to be here, but I felt like it was, although I do feel like it's one that I'm capable and should achieve every year, it's still an accomplishment, especially with how the season is now, and just how much shorter and the amount of golf you're playing. I feel like it puts more emphasis on every event, and I think I was talking to Adam Scott about it last night. It's just, I don't think you can really kind of 8th to 20th your way to Eastlake is I feel like you kind of could before. I don't know if that statistically actually is accurate or makes sense, but I just felt like you could play really well all year and maybe just not finish out some tournaments, but just have a lot of top, kind of 10th, 15th, 20th, whatever it was, and you just, by the amount of events you're playing, and you would end up, I felt like, being here, versus now if you don't have really any top, you don't win any top 2, 3s kind of thing, like you have to finish a lot of times in the top 10 or be there very, very, very often, I feel like, to make it here versus before.
And you mentioned being 30th. Does that change your mentality coming into this week at all, given where you are in the starting strokes?
I don't know. I'm very fortunate I've never been in that spot. It's always been nice starting with at least some under par. But, no, I mean, obviously, look, it's no secret that my chances are pretty slim this week. But they're a lot better than if I was sitting on my couch at home. I know that for sure. So I'm just going to try to play as good as I can and make as many birdies as I can. I mean, it's hard to say exactly how the course is going to play. I feel like the old course, I probably had a better chance of making up ground just for the amount of birdies. I feel like it's going to be hard to have a 7, 8, 9 birdie round out here when I felt like I could do that on the other course or the old design. So, but again, I have no idea, so we'll see.
We'll do the woman in the back and then Shed to Doug.
Hey, JT, Is there a certain change that you might have made this year, looking back compared to last year, that maybe a shift in mindset or a swing change that you'll look back on as something that you want to continue doing that has helped you this year?
A little bit. I feel like, I mean, it really was just, I think I just made, and it's always a problem I've had of overanalyzing or just trying to be perfect, if you will, but I feel like I just got too much down that road. But the biggest thing for me, I think where I kind of got in trouble, and I get in trouble sometimes, is I just lost all ownership. I feel like and it's no fault to coaches, but I always had too many people around, and it was like I felt like I was too reliant on everybody, whether it be my dad or a putting coach or whatever it may be. And it works for some people, but for me, I've always been really good at adjusting in the middle of a round. I wouldn't be scared to change my grip or have a change a swing thought or something on the course, because I'm like, this isn't working, so I need to do something differently. Whereas I felt like I kind of lost that accountability and I lost that ownership when I always had, my dad here. And it's like, it wasn't that it wasn't working, it just, I would get in the habit of hitting, and I would look and I'm like, well, what is that? And then I lost all of my own self, if you will. So I just feel like kind of owning that and being better at figuring stuff out on my own is what helped me play better this year, and I feel like will help me continue to play better.
How did you actually make that change?
It's hard, but it just was, it's just communication. I mean, it's like, it's awkward, especially when your coach is your dad, and I tell him, like, I don't want you to come out this week, and it's not like I don't want my dad here this week, I don't want my coach here this week. And I think, we even had that this year, and I remember at Valhalla for the PGA, this year I was playing great, and I felt really good about everything, and I told, when we landed in Louisville, I told my dad, I was like, look, like, this is going to be a tough emotional week for me, like, it's a lot going on, and I was like, I don't need my coach this week, I need my dad. I was like, I'm good, I feel good about everything, like, I like where things are going, I don't necessarily want you here this week as a coach, but I was like, I need my dad, I need the person that's going to be there that I can talk to. So a lot of it is on me and everybody involved, just communicating that, because if I don't say anything, obviously they'd never know.
Here to shed.
Right. You mentioned things you might not have liked about this year. What did you like? What were the things that you look back on and say, oh, that was pretty good?
The things I did like? Mm-hmm. I felt like definitely getting off to, got off to a nice start there at the beginning of the year, had chances to win a couple tournaments. Feel like I had a couple of those rounds where I feel like I would have more often, or I have had more often in past I kind of call it like going a little unconscious, where it's like I feel like every shot is exactly where I want it to be, and it's like I just kind of get in this little zone, and it's just pretty much, love Rev, but just stay out of the way kind of thing. Like I feel like I can aim here, it's going to come down here, and it's just where that's where I feel like I can just birdie hole after hole after hole after hole, and that's, it doesn't happen that often, but it's a fun feeling when it does, and I feel like I had that a couple times this year. But, just getting in contention, and I think I wasn't in contention or like really, really close on that back nine on a Sunday like I would have liked, but I still was there, a decent bit going into Sunday, feeling like I had a chance. I felt like I had two chances to win. They weren't great, but two chances to win two majors this year, the last two of the year. And, obviously they didn't turn out anything what I would have liked. I mean, Valhalla was nice, but the Open wasn't a great Sunday by any means. But I was there, or I woke up that morning knowing that I had a chance to win the golf tournament. So that's nice.
Doug?
And a couple of things. Do you feel like you're auditioning this week for Jim?
A little bit. I think I guess I would answer that. I don't feel like I am for me, but if I was him, I would say I am, if that makes sense. Like I think it'd be, with how many people have an opportunity, I think it'd be, he's definitely looking at, guys that are potential picks and how they're playing. But I mean, most importantly, I am here, and I know that, some guys aren't, but then again, I was in that spot last year where there were guys that were trying to get picked that were here, and I wasn't even in the playoffs. So I think I talked about it maybe last week or Memphis. I'm definitely more at ease right now than I was last year about getting picked, and it's not from a lack of wanting to be on the team or feel like it's not as important. My priorities are a little in a better place, that I know that if I play the golf I feel like I should, then it'll take care of itself. So yeah, I obviously really, really want to be on that team, and I know there's a lot of people that have a chance. So it'd be nice to play well for a lot of reasons this week, but that'd definitely be one.
And then, speaking of last year, do you watch golf on TV? And if you're willing to admit that, did you watch much of the playoffs last year that you missed, and did it motivate you or piss you off? Either one.
Yeah, I do watch golf. I watched them, and all of them I'd say had very different emotions. I watched Memphis laughing at how unbelievably uncomfortable and hot everybody looked on TV. I remember being in Nashville at our house there, and I'm watching on TV, and like every person I saw on TV, I'm like, I would love to be there, but that sucks. Like every person looked like they could pass out at any moment, how hot it was. So I got a little bit of enjoyment out of that. Watching Olympia Fields, I was actually, as funny as enough, Jill grew up like 25 minutes from Olympia Fields, and I was in town. We were seeing her family of all weeks, which was not that fun for me. Went to a couple places, and people wished me luck that week, and I was obviously not playing. But it was weird. We went and saw Jordan, Annie, and Sammy, and that week, so that was a strange one. And then watched some in Atlanta, and that was probably the hardest one to watch, just because I love this place and really, really wanted to be here. But yeah, it was very different emotions in all of them.
We'll go here in the center and then to Bob.
Hey, JT. As somebody who's began the year outside the top 50, trying to get into those signature events, I'm wondering if you could speak on the signature event structure, your thoughts on it, and the potential pathways that have been created for players like yourself who are outside the top 50 to get into them.
Yeah, it's a huge, huge deal. I mean, it's, I think, very similar to making it here. It's extremely difficult you have to have a very, very good year to be in the top 50 and earn your way into those events, which I think is fair and rightfully so. I don't think it's something that you should get grandfathered into. You should, whatever it may be. And so I think the fact that the guys that are the top 50 have earned that, I think is great. And I also I felt a lot of pressure this year to play my way into those, but it kept me extremely motivated. I didn't want to have to rely on exemptions. I didn't want to, and it was also weird and uncomfortable. But reaching out to tournament directors, asking for exemptions, and telling them I hope I don't need it, but if I do need it, can I have one, type thing. But I was fortunate enough through world ranking and the Aon Next 10, I was able to qualify for them. So, and I like that for the fact that guys that are outside, they might be upset or not happy that they're in them, but they have the same opportunity to play their way in, just like myself and everybody else can. So, that's what we all know we signed up for in golf. You can go out and get it yourself. So I think that's great.
Got Bob over here on the right.
JT, do you have a handicap at your home course?
I do not.
No. How do you, if you ever play with guys who are not pros but have a game, how does it work? Do you just sort of guess as to how to give them shots? Do you do something like play your worst ball or against them or anything like that crazy?
Probably depends on how much money we're playing for, is how I would, you want to win the bet on the first tee, naturally. There's a couple guys that aren't pros that we kind of have figured out somewhat of what strokes are. There's a handful of guys down in Jupiter that, either tried to play or did play a little bit, that, they very well could go beat us any day that we play. So just, 1 or 2 strokes side, something like that. But it really is just a guessing game. I think we always do some kind of like adjust at the turn to where if the match is 2 up or more either side, then you adjust accordingly on the back 9. But it's really just a guess.
There are some pros that have handicaps at their home club. Do you think it would be odd for a pro to be giving another pro shots, like even in a match at home, or is that common?
It's definitely not common. I think it'd be pretty, I don't want to say disrespectful, but, I'd be pretty pissed if, like, Scotty and I played a practice round and he's like, "Would you want, like, a stroke on this 9?" I mean, it'd be like, what do I think of myself and what does he think of me if he's asked? I mean, it'd be a pretty good intimidation factor. So, I mean, I definitely have some buddies that I've played with at home that are, maybe mini tours or stuff like that, people that I'm close enough with where I feel like I can say that, and I'll just, I'll be like, "You want some strokes, or what do you want?" And they kind of look at me, and I know right then that I've already won the match because they, that's what I think of them, kind of thing.
Thank you.
All right, last one right here on the right.
Hi, Justin. This week there's a creators event as well as the Tour Championship, obviously. I was wondering what your thoughts on sort of maybe there's more young people that are interested in golf. I think there's more that want to become influencers as well as actual professional golfers like yourself nowadays.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's obviously very different. I think that's the day and age that we're in right now, and it's at the end of the day, if it gets more kids, more people interested in golf, that's what's most important. And I think, I don't know that field very well, but I know that there's a handful of influencers, people out there that people know them probably way better than they know me, and that's not right or wrong, but that's just the power of it. So I think them being out here and their time is valuable just like ours is, and so for them to take the time at a big week like this and come play a course and have the opportunity to create a little bit more buzz, that's great, and it also gives kids a different avenue to want to be involved in golf. So I think that's a good thing, regardless if it's professional or influencer.
And then Doug, right here.
President's Cup or not, there's a big chunk of time coming up from most of the guys in the field who aren't from Europe. Are you comfortable not playing a lot of golf? You went to South Africa last year, but are you okay taking a big chunk of time off, or do you feel like you still need to play?
I don't like taking a lot of time off. I think I get a little rusty, but I have plenty of things planned that fill the time pretty easily. But just gonna take a little 3-day vacation with Jill from here. I have a foundation event that I'm doing after that, and then it's hopefully getting ready for President's Cup after that. And then if not, I'll have to figure out what I'm gonna do with my time. And I'll probably add an event somewhere this fall to do, and then so it's just trying to stay somewhat competitively in it and not get too rusty.
Thank you for your time, Justin. Good luck this week.